However, what is next for the FIA, and more importantly, where do we stand with the infamous rain making everything so complicated for the race directors? Once upon a time, we were very thrilled to see some racing in Formula 1 under the rain. Who wouldn't be? Mixed up grid, cars lining up where they shouldn't be, and small mistakes costing the drivers a lot in the pecking order. Be that as it may, the sport has started to slowly but surely shift towards more safety, and it seems like they've crossed the line as to how much safe is too much safe. During the Belgian Grand Prix, it was always known that we're going to have a rainy Sunday, hence the modifications on the majority of the cars during the weekend. Verstappen was loaded with a high downforce wing, meaning that he would have lost tons of top speed here just to keep up in the middle and fast speed corners. Perfect for the rainy conditions. The only thing that didn't go according to plan was the fact that the FIA waited for the rain to stop completely and the track to dry before they continued racing. We were stripped away from an amazing spectacle that could have brought some very good racing and overtaking. However, if you were to ask Verstappen and Hamilton, the decision of the FIA was utterly wrong. Elaborating further on this, the four-time world champion said, "Well, the start procedure being suspended is a bit silly. I mean, you just should run a few laps, Jesus. They are way too cautious. Now the heavy rain is coming, and then it's going to be a 3-hour delay." They took a very cautious approach, which we spoke about after Silverstone, to be a little bit more cautious, but for me, this was then the other extreme. It just ruined a nice, classic wet race as well. We either still try to push for a proper wet race, or we say, you know what, let's just stop racing in the wet and wait for it to be dry. But that's not what you want, right? We can still have some really cool wet racing, like we showed at Silverstone. It's not something that we can't agree on. The drivers are literally made for conditions like this. I'm not saying the race shouldn't have been red flagged. We've seen the amount of standing water on the track and the torrential rain. Nobody in their right minds would have suggested racing under those conditions, especially not after losing 2 young lives in 2019 and 2023 under similar circumstances. However, once the track started to dry up, there was an opportunity for the drivers to go behind the safety car, create a dry racing line and just go from there. Instead, the FIA waited for the rain to completely stop, for the track to be dry enough for the intermediate tyres to work, and then sent the drivers out there. With no rain expected, it was obvious that we were going to see slick tyres being mounted soon after, and that effectively didn't help anybody who thought that they were going to be racing in the rain. But what can be done here? The FIA is under a lot of scrutiny for their actions when the wet conditions are becoming a big factor, and I think they have weighed a little bit more towards the safety rather than the spectacle. And this is where we needed to talk about the wider perspective.